Welcome everybody to TNTspices. Today we're going to make ourselves up a delicious dinner, simple dinner, but very flavorful. In front of me I have some baby back ribs. These baby back ribs, I simply removed the membrane that's on the back of this. Now that is something that is optional. Some people like to leave it on, some people like to score it. It's all personal preference, whichever you prefer to do. We're going to put these on our smoker, but the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put a binder on these ribs. We're going to use our sriracha hot sauce. With the sriracha poured on, I'm going to simply rub this on and season these with our SPG. I've poured some of our sriracha onto the front side as our binder, and we're going to simply season this up with our SPG on this side.
Delicious, so delicious.
We're going to let these sit about a half hour to an hour in the fridge before we go and place these out onto our smoker. We have our smoker set at 225 degrees. We're going to let these smoke for 3 hours. In the meantime, let's go inside and I'll show you how we're going to make up a sriracha barbecue sauce for these ribs. I have in this container 3/4 cups of ketchup. We're next going to take our sriracha hot sauce. We are going to take 2 tablespoons. I have 2 tablespoons of apple cider vinegar. I have 1 tablespoon of soy sauce and 1 tablespoon of Worcestershire sauce. I have 1/4 cup of honey. Last, I have a 1/2 teaspoon of ground ginger, dried ground ginger, and a 1/2 teaspoon of granulated garlic. We're going to mix this all up real well, bring this to a simmer, and let these flavors marry for a short while on our stove. We've had our sriracha barbecue sauce on the stove top for about 10 minutes now. This is now finished. We're going to allow this to cool, and then when our ribs are done later, we're going to use this sauce. Our sriracha ribs have been out on the grill for 3 hours. I've brought them in real quick. I've laid some foil down. I have some butter. I'm taking some of Mike's hot honey, the extra hot honey. We're going to pour some of that down onto our foil here. Next, we're going to put our ribs down. After placing our ribs, we're going to take that sriracha sauce that we made. We're going to pour some of that over top. Give ourselves a good 3 tablespoons worth of this sauce. We're going to simply wrap up our ribs real tight. We're going to place these back out onto our grill. We're going to lower the temperature of our grill down to 220 degrees. We're going to cook these an additional 2 hours. We're going to make a side dish to go along with our ribs. In this pot here, I have 2 cans of whole kernel corn. All I did was drain the cans, place the corn in the pot. On my cutting board, I have about 1/4 cup of cilantro that I have already finely chopped. I have an equal amount of onion that I have finely chopped. We are going to place the onion and cilantro into our corn. We are going to take, I have 2 tablespoons of our Louis seasoning. Now this is a pineapple, beer, and like a tahini. It's got that sweet and sour, and that's going to go fantastic with this corn. It's going to make it a very similar flavor profile when we're done to a Mexican street corn. I have 3 tablespoons of Parmesan cheese, grated Parmesan cheese. I have 1 teaspoon of coarse ground black pepper. I have 1/4 cup of plain yogurt. I'm also going to take a 1/4 cup of mayonnaise. We're going to stir this all together real well, and we're going to let this sit in our refrigerator until our ribs are done, and that will allow the flavors to combine. We're going to make a second side dish to go with our ribs this evening. We have some sweet potatoes. I cleaned the sweet potatoes, and all I did is I just cut them into a bunch of wedges. So once I filled up my tray, I knew I had enough sweet potatoes. I'm going to place these into this bowl here, and we're going to start seasoning up these sweet potato wedges. I have myself 2 tablespoons of potato starch. I'm going to sprinkle the potato starch onto these wedges, and we're going to toss these wedges in this potato starch. Now that I have these fully coated, in this bowl, I have a 1/4 cup of our Nashville hot oil. This I have made in previous episodes, and what I do is I reserve it in the refrigerator for future uses. So I'm going to pour this Nashville oil onto our sweet potato wedges and mix it in good and thorough. You can go back to one of our prior Nashville videos and you will find the recipe for the Nashville oil. It's packed full of flavor. And the sweetness and the heat with these sweet potato wedges, you're really going to love these. Now that we have these fully coated and mixed, I'm going to simply put these onto our air fryer tray. We are going to place these into a 390-degree air fryer for 20 minutes. 2 hours that our ribs were on the smoker. We're next going to take our glaze, and we're going to put these ribs back out on our smoker. We're going to lower the temperature of our smoker down to 180 degrees, and we're going to let these cook out there an hour until this glaze sets up. An hour has passed. We're going to give this another light coat, and our final touch is rice seasoning. You can get this at your local supermarket or an Asian market. It's nori and some mixed sesame seeds that are toasted. We're just going to give this a little tiny coating on the top. These ribs are done. Our sweet potato wedges have finished cooking inside of our air fryer. We're going to simply take them out. We're going to throw them in this container. We're going to give them one little bit of seasoning. We're going to take our Fire and Nashville rub, and we're going to sprinkle a very light coating of it onto these wedges. Give a little coating while they're good and hot. A little tiny toss. And these are ready to be put onto our plate with the rest of our food for plating up. Our meal is plated. We have our corn that we made up using our Louie Louie. We have our air fried sweet potatoes, and this is just going to be packed full of flavor. As always, we thank you very much for joining us here at TNTspices. Please like, subscribe, leave comments. We always like to hear from you. In the meantime, to each and every one of you guys, thank you and God bless.